rise with a prayer and a pledge. May the God known to each of us provide the strength and wisdom to perform the duties and fulfill the responsibilities required by oaths of office. May our actions be pleasing to God and meet the expectations of the citizens we serve. Amen. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll go ahead and call our meeting to order for Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. I will mention that the council met work session earlier with a discussion about quality of life recreational opportunities. No action taken. It will come up at subsequent council meetings. I'll say thanks to the council for being here earlier this evening, and thanks to all of you for being here this evening as well. Council members, you have minutes from the August 19th meeting before you for your approval. What is your pleasure?
Make motion. Second.
Motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion from the meeting minutes from August 19th? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Second, the next item is public comments. We don't have anybody signed in to speak, and as far as departmental updates, I will let everybody know, I think I'll let everybody know this in work session too, but for the sake of it being a regular meeting, the paving crews are in town, which is great news. There's a lot of paving projects that will be happening over the next week or two. So it's good to see them, and as always, we're gearing up for Fall Fest, headed into the next couple weeks with that coming up and whatnot. So please, if you see that stuff out on social media, and Brandy and Andre are sharing that stuff out, make a point of sharing that and getting word out. We've got a lot of good feedback from people that will be visiting the town right after we started announcing those events as well. We don't have a lot in terms of meeting substance, and we got two first readings this evening. We don't have any old business, and you have departmental updates, and I will ask if there's anything from the council that wasn't covered in departmental updates that needed to be addressed, or you wanted to ask the police department or Danny's departments about. You can feel free to do that this time. If there's anything that you want to send an email or text over, something that needs attention, please continue to do that too. So we'll jump right into new business if there's not anything of that nature. The first item is consideration of approval for Resolution 2025-29 for payment of the contractor's application for payment of the P Ridge wastewater connection project. And as you all know, this is going to be on our agenda for quite some time for approval. So I will entertain a motion to make that invoice payment.
I'll make that motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of pay application number 7. And if there's no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The next two items, again, are our first reading, but I will summarize, and as you know, on first readings, there's not discussion until the second reading. The first one is consideration approval of ordinance 2025-04, electing to place future municipal levy election renewals on regularly scheduled primary and general election ballots beginning 2030 on the first reading. And I will say that every other city is doing the same thing that we're doing. It's by state law now that we have to line our elections up with state and federal elections, and this is the first step to do that, and this is on first reading. So I'll make the motion that we entertain the first reading of ordinance 2025-04, electing to place future municipal renewals on regularly scheduled primary and general election ballots beginning in 2030.
Second.
The motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The next item is also a first reading, and we have updates to our codified ordinances based on state law that we have a publishing company who watches that traffic for us, and also anything that we've made changes as a body. Those things need to go into our code books, and that's basically what you're voting for tonight on the first reading, is to put those replacement pages into our official code books. So I will entertain a motion to accept the first reading of the ordinance 2025-05 to approve the current replacement pages with codified ordinances of the Village of Barboursville.
Make the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. As I said, we didn't have a long agenda tonight, folks, so I appreciate you all being here. We'll go to council comments. Rachel will start on your end this evening.
Thank you all for being here. It's always good to see everybody. Danny, thanks for getting the paving going, and that's always nice to get that new paving in the city and everything. Darren, thank you for your department, and you're gonna be busy in the next few weeks with Fall Fest, and I'm sure they're ready for all hands on deck, and,
We're ready.
it'll be a good Fall Fest, I think. We're gonna have good entertainment, and, we're gonna be busy, but it's gonna be fun, so I'm looking forward to that.
I wanna stop back one more thing, you mentioned the police department, I wanted to mention this tonight, so I'm glad you said something about traffic and whatnot. I've heard nothing but great feedback from school traffic this year, no complaints. As you know, it's always been one of the things that people have something to say about, and it's been very positive. And they've been very complimentary of your officers who are covering school duty, and the resource officers as well, so please pass that along to your guys, chief. It's been well received, so I appreciate the effort, as I know everyone else does as well.
It
So
has
thank you.
been.
Thank
So, they have attacked the problem, and, we're pleased right now with the way things are going.
I will say too that the chief and I and deputy chief and Greg Lucas were able to go meet with the Board of Education a few weeks ago. I think I mentioned that we were gonna do that, and we've been gearing up for additional resource officers. So the plan is for us to have an agreement with them that they're gonna cover costs on those new resource officers, and just like they do with other agencies. So I think that's important that they've made that commitment, and also that we now have 2 new schools. I mean, Davis Creek is newer, not so new anymore, but to have new schools, including the Woody Williams Center for Advanced Careers and Learning, that's also within our footprint. So the police department is gonna, we've got an officer that's gonna be trained to be the resource officer there too. So it's been well received. The Board of Education was very complimentary of the meeting too, so I'll say thank you for that as well. Paula?
With that being said, if you all weren't doing a good job, leave me to be on social media. Because, I mean, you see nothing but
Yeah.
good things about what the police department's doing. And Danny, our guys are all over town, that's fabulous. I mean, it just makes my heart happy to see that we are taking care of our town and our streets. I did have a question about the newsletter. I know it hasn't came out yet, and we do have big things coming up, the parade and everything like that. So I just think that maybe, I know it's probably too late to get it out now, but we need to at least try to make an effort.
It's in the hands of the publisher already.
Is
I
it?
do know that. It's been to Johnson
Well, that's
Printing
good.
already.
Good.
Yep.
Because Christmas is coming up, we'll have parades
Yep.
and all this stuff, so we just need to enlighten everybody.
Yep.
You know, you normally look on Facebook or social media or our sign that I think is fabulous, but, it's just something that we need to keep up.
Sure.
That's all. Thank you for coming, guys. Thank you all for coming.
What I've noticed since our last meeting is, like, I know, I'm proud of the city and those in charge, this table, on keeping us financially secure, because we knew about the Highline project, we knew about the Blake Street, we didn't know about Union and Shaw, and that's a 2-week project, and us not knowing about it is one thing, but us being able to financially be secure and mature enough to be able to handle it without looking at it as a catastrophe. I think that goes to say a lot with John and the mayor and Danny and Chris Blanton. I mean, I saw him this morning at 8 o'clock out. They were all working on it, and you know, you don't see anybody leaning on a shovel, and that makes me very proud of the people in charge of what happens with. I wrote down Chris and posse for my note, with Chris and his posse that work behind the scenes for going to the Board of Education and realizing ahead of time that we've got Woody Williams. And that's gonna be a tough one. I mean, we're close to the interstate, dangerous things can happen. That's gonna be more accessible really than some of our other schools, and that, you all are being proactive to take care of these things. I love it when, we take care of the problem before everybody else knows there is one. So I'm just, proud of the village and proud of those in charge. And Chris Blanton's doing a great job. Danny, we talk about you every time and how awesome you are. We forget to tell Chris. So you're awesome, and so is Chris.
I will say one thing too that you mentioned, and I mentioned this in work session, and I think it was brought up, I think it was actually brought up in our public meeting last time about street closures and whatnot. And one of the things that I thought was pretty neat, is I pulled them all together and I said, hey, when we close a street down, you know, how do we figure out who we're gonna notify and how we notify? Because we're always used to putting putting it on social media or putting something out in press. Well, you know, the little thing up on Union Avenue over there affects about 8 houses or so. So they go knock on their doors individually. I think it's pretty neat that they do that. And they take time to do that to let everybody know that there's gonna be a traffic type for them. But for somebody who lives there on Main Street or Hudson Avenue or Marion Street, I'm not gonna travel that way, so they don't put it out to everybody because they don't wanna confuse the issue. But when there's something that's gonna affect our ways to school, or something that's a bus route or something to that effect, then that's when they put the notices out to everybody. But I think it speaks volumes to how they handle notifying our citizens and that they take the time to do that in those individual neighborhoods. So that's the answer to the question that kind of came up last time as to why and how they do the notification. So that's always appreciated too. Also from a first responder standpoint too, Chief. Thank you. You're next.
Great, man. I'd like to say ditto. Sometimes when it gets to us, we don't know what to say. Now, of course, when it gets to Donna, he'll have something to say. But thank you guys for being here. We appreciate it. And you know, it's good to be on the city council in the village of Barboursville because it's a good little town. We're a safe town. Some of you know I was on the city council 20 years ago or something more, but it's so much different now. It's easy to do, and the city's a great little city. So.
Our biggest problem is we don't have a problem.
Yeah, we really have no problem. But thank you guys for coming. But it's been a pleasure. It is a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be a city council in the city of Barboursville. Thank you guys for coming.
I'll say ditto. He covered everybody else. No, I mean, everybody's saying the right thing, but it's a place we call home, and definitely proud of it. Always proud of Barboursville, and glad to be part of it. So everything else is covered, it sounds like. So. Third base.
Okay.
Once it comes to the end of the line, I feel obligated to be creative or whatever and have to come up with something. And fortunately today I will continue on that notion. I do have a couple of quick things. First, who takes care of the garbage at the skate park?
Our crews.
Okay, so the
Actually,
garbage.
Annette is down there every morning.
Okay,
Clean up.
the garbage cans overflow. Now,
Okay.
you know, along with my new lines of leave it better than you found it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind at all picking up the garbage after the people, but I don't have no place to put it.
Yeah.
But if someone would empty the garbage can, I think people and even the skaters like that, well, they usually take care of their
They
own
do.
place.
They do a pretty
but,
good job.
when the garbage can gets full, that kind of limits their ability. So if you pass that along,
Yeah, we will.
to kind
Pass
of
it
keep
along.
that. I know it's kind of out of the way. You know, it's not the main park, but it is still part of the park system. Needs to be taken care of. The other thing, just a question moreover than I know we're kind of at midterm with the 4-year voting and everything like that, and in 2 years we'll be voting again. We talked about changing or perhaps changing the method of how we, for instance, went and got a petition and that kind of stuff. We had talked about a long time that maybe eliminating that.
The position
Because,
part, that's all.
and doing, you know what I'm talking about? We
Yeah.
brought it up and for whatever reason, it popped back into my head, not just because I'm at the end of the line here today, but that, I think since we're in midterm, I think it might be a fair discussion to, if it's going to change, now would be probably the time to throw that up, and I didn't know how the council
Well,
felt about that.
we do have a scheduled time to talk with Mark about the change in the election cycles, because we'd also talk about staggering terms and a couple other things. So what we had to fix now was what we started this evening, and then a subsequent discussion about staggering terms is forthcoming. So we'll add that to the list of things to talk about.
Yeah.
If that's something that you guys want to discuss. If there's anything else within what the rules and regs are election-wise, whether it relates to the petition that you get signatures on, which is what I think you're talking about. Anything else, just pass that along, and I'll make sure that Mark has some research done, and we have some collective research done before we ever get to the discussion.
You know,
But sooner than later, Councilman, that's to answer your question.
Sounds good. I mean, this, and it's good news. This may be the most bipartisan town in
Yeah.
America, and that's, you know, again, that's great news. But you know, I know that petition had been, and particularly if someone for instance, was a libertarian or an independent, they're gonna have a hard time finding or
Yeah.
being able to come up with the 50 signatures required at this time, the way that's currently written.
Well, I'll say that I echo what you said. This is probably the most bipartisan place I've ever lived in,
Yeah.
I've ever seen. And two, what we deal with aren't Democrat, Republican issues, they're people issues.
That's right.
You know, what we deal with are quality of life issues and taking care of the town.
Yeah.
That's not Democrat, Republican. It's what
Absolutely.
we do.
No, it's
So,
American. It's,
yeah. Anyway, I appreciate the feedback too, and I'll add that to the list of things. And then I hate to take another minute, but I got a text from Andre to remind everybody that Bark in the Park is on September the 14th, so you can take your dogs to the splash park that day, which has also been advertised social media wise, and I think Brandy has it on the sign now, so. But he wanted me to make sure that I mentioned it in council meeting, so take your dogs to the splash park on September the 14th. If there's nothing else to come before the council, thanks everybody for coming, we'll adjourn the meeting.